She took all the good pictures too, so there wasn't a whole lot left. I am Andrea Ballard. I do have 3 children. Jordan is my oldest. She's a junior this year at Rogers State University in Claremore. Of course, Hannah is a junior at Independence, and I refer to him as my little big guy because he is bigger than Hannah, but he is a freshman this year at Independence. His name is CJ. We lost my husband 2 years ago to colon cancer, and that is why we moved to Independence. Hannah was 10 years old when her AVM happened. Before that, she was normal as Hannah could be. She was always been a little crazy. Hannah walked her own beat of her own drummer, and I love that about her. When her AVM happened, this is how quickly it happened. I came home from work. She met me in the driveway, very excited. She was going to find out what part she got in her children's program at church. She wanted to go right then, and I was like, I'd like to change clothes and maybe go to the bathroom before we go. By the time we got in the car, our church is 3 miles from our house. By the time that we got to the first stoplight in Tulsa, Hannah was complaining of a severe headache. And I was like, are you kidding me? I have so much to do tonight at church. I've got to help set up the missions, blah, blah, blah. And so I pulled into Quick Trip, grabbed a bottle of water, and gave her some ibuprofen. Hannah has always had night terrors, and I don't know if you have ever experienced that. It's very terrifying. When Hannah spikes a fever, when she gets sick, she has like an awake nightmare. She won't recognize us, and basically all you can do is hold her until she goes back to sleep. That means, I told you this because 3 blocks later, that's what I thought was happening. Hannah was trying to crawl out of my car as we are driving down the street. She was screaming in pain. She had pulled her seatbelt and was in the fetal position on the floorboard of my car. My husband worked between our church and where we were at, so I drove there, and he met us outside. We got Hannah, she started kind of coming back a little bit. We got her to drink a lot of water, and I left because I had 2 other children in the car, and my oldest daughter had a friend with us. So I wanted to drop them at church, and I thought, I'll head to urgent care. I think she's spiked a fever, flu or whatever. Got to urgent care, and they immediately masked Hannah. I basically carried her into the urgent care. And you're probably thinking right now, why did you go to urgent care? I don't know if you are familiar with Tulsa, but urgent care is so much closer than trying to drive halfway across town. And that was my thought, was get her to somebody now. They masked her. They were all wearing masks, and I was going, hello, I don't have a mask, okay. So they thought she had meningitis. She did not. They called the ambulance to take us to the hospital. And there's things that I remember very clearly. There's things that I obviously don't remember very clearly. I called my husband to tell him we were on the way to the hospital. The paramedic walked in and he said, which hospital do you want me to take her to? And I was like, okay, we're here and Southcrest is right here. So I'm like, that's where I want to go, nearest hospital, right? That's where you want to take your kid. And he said, well, ma'am, she really needs to go to the children's hospital. And I said some not very nice words. And I said, why did you even ask me? Why would I even be given that choice? If she needs to go to the children's hospital at St. Francis, then that's where I would like you to please take us. It wasn't quite that nice, but I apologized to him later with cookies. They loaded her in the ambulance. They got her working on the IV. They weren't going hot with lights. They still thought she had meningitis at this point. About halfway to St. Francis Hospital, they told me that they were going lights, that she was, I'm gonna ugly cry, because I already did when Hannah presented her IV. They said, we're gonna go hot. It's not that she's crashing, but we need to get her there. They took her back. They asked all the questions. Has she been like this all day? Blah, blah, blah. They took her in for a CT scan, and that's when they discovered the bleed. They didn't know what it was at that time. They wanted to know if she'd had an accident at school, had she gotten hit in the head, had she been in a car accident recently. I called her teacher because I was not aware that anything had happened at school. And I apologized to all the teachers out there because I did freak her out because she told me nothing happened at school and I hung up on her and didn't quite explain what was going on. Again, I apologize for the cookies. Hence Hannah and the therapy of cookies. They did the CT scan. I mean, it was immediately that they put her on a ventilator. They put a drain in her head, and 2.5 hours after I got home from work and saw my happy, healthy, normal child, they were telling me that they were rushing her in for brain surgery, and they didn't know she'd make it. She obviously did. Then the next surgeon came out. He told me that no, we're gonna step back a minute. We're gonna do some scans. We're gonna see what we really are dealing with here. They were very concerned about her swelling, the swelling of her brain and the damage that would cause. They ended up putting in another drain the next day. Hannah had brain surgery on a Friday, longest 5 hours of my entire life. They came out, they told us that everything had gone well, that they were able to remove the AVM and all the old blood. The scary thing is that they told me that they could tell it had actually leaked before. So sometime before this happened, Hannah had come to me with a headache, and I did what any other parent would do. I gave her aspirin and I put her to bed. It is by the grace of God that Hannah is here with us today, because it could have burst. She obviously stayed in the hospital for quite some time. Went to the Bethany Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City for inpatient rehab. They planned for us to be there 6 weeks. I was fortunate enough, because we had the support of our families and where my husband worked, I was able to take that entire time off, and I uprooted myself from my husband and other 2 children and spent every moment of Hannah's therapy with Hannah. I wanted to know how to do it. I wanted to be a primary teacher. I needed to know how to take care of my kid, because we did not know the end of the story. And even though Hannah stands here today, to the average not know what occurred to Hannah, if you would have met her in the hallway, you probably wouldn't have guessed that she was going to present her IEP to you. But we don't know where the story ends, because she may have another AVM. It may grow back. They told me I could have my other 2 children scanned to see if they had a walking time bomb in their head. We chose not to, because there wasn't anything they could do about it. So I'm already going to freak out every time they have headaches. So let's not compound it by knowing that they have that. I do have a unique perspective that Hannah started 5th grade in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I've been through the whole Oklahoma-Kansas IEP difference. The thing about Hannah, though, and I know that you work with a wide range of children, is, again, to look at Hannah, she doesn't need she doesn't need goal or assistance and help, but she does. We had a problem with one of Hannah's teachers in 5th grade not making the accommodations that was required for Hannah. Hannah was having problems writing. She was expected to do 3 2-page essays a week to prepare for the writing test. And in her IEP, it stated Hannah's to be given an outline to do writing assignments so that she could get her thoughts in order. Anyway, long story short, I emailed the teacher and asked her if we could, adjust this a little bit, because she was struggling with it so much. The teacher did not respond to me. She pulled Hannah out in the hallway, told Hannah just to write "I'm special" on top of all of her homework assignments if she felt the need if she didn't want to do them. Needless to say, shortly after that, I had my first IEP meeting with the principal. I don't know if it was because Hannah was one of the first ones mainstreamed into the classroom. I don't know if it was because she'd been teaching so long. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, but we continued having problems with this teacher. And I'm gonna back up to say, Jordan went through the same school. We had been at Disney for like 10 years. These people knew us. I'd been PTA president. I mean, they knew us. We had a relationship. So I don't know what the circumstance was with this one teacher. We finally got that figured out and adjusted, but she kind of kept making little pokes at Hannah through the year. And I could see that Hannah was being affected because she quit telling me what was going on in school. She wouldn't tell us what was happening in class. I had the approval through her IEP. If her homework took over an hour each night, I could sign the bottom and they'd accept that. So she wasn't frustrating herself for working too hard. She wouldn't let me do it. We were working as a 5th grader, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours a night to complete her work because this one teacher taught Hannah it's not okay to need help and need assistance and stand up for yourself. It kind of continued through middle school because Hannah had gotten so good at hiding it from us. And because Hannah was monitor only, she was only checked in on here and there, not daily, not weekly, just here and there. So it was really, they were expecting Hannah to come to them if she needed help. If you stood Hannah's teacher in middle school, her sped teacher up here, with a random 10 of you, Hannah couldn't have picked out her sped teacher. Because she saw her for beginning of year testing, and she saw her for state testing. She wasn't at her IEP meeting. Matter of fact, I was asked not to bring her to her IEP meeting. So when we moved to Independence, Hannah all the kids were transitioning to new schools. Jordan was going to college, Hannah was going to high school, CJ was going to middle school. I figured with the passing of their dad, it was the best time to move closer to our family. That summer, Hannah and I argued a lot about whether I was going to tell Independence High School that she had an IEP. She didn't want them to know. She didn't want them to see her as that kid. And again, in Hannah's mind, by this time, it wasn't okay that she was on an IEP. Obviously, I won. We came to it as a mutual agreement that we were going to, let's try it. Let's not hold Independence accountable for what we've already experienced. Let's try. Right out of the gate, we met with Miss Lakin and another teacher that introduced herself to us again just a little bit ago, and I cannot remember her name. Hannah was invited to the IEP meeting. And it wasn't about the IEP, it was about Hannah. They wanted to know her story, why we were here, where, her goals, her dreams, her hopes. And Hannah walked out of there. Here's the ugly cry's gonna come, I'm just gonna warn you now. Hannah walked out of there and we got in my van, and going to the IEP meeting, I have a great picture of Hannah, and that's one I should have brought. She is sitting in the passenger seat with her arms crossed, and she is just so angry going to this IEP meeting. We walked out the IEP meeting, got in the van, started driving home, and she looked at me, she said, "Mom, I think it's gonna be okay to be me." Needless to say, you've now seen the crazy pictures of Hannah's support team at Independence High School. I would say it's working out well. One of my favorite things that I like, because Hannah is still monitor only, but the paras that go into the classrooms for other students monitor Hannah. They pull Hannah out, for some of the tests. They help her, if she's having problems taking notes. But my favorite thing is that she is in Amy Lakin's class every day. So not only is Amy there if she needs help, Amy is with her every day so that she can get to know Hannah and be able to see when Hannah is not maybe being completely honest with us. And we did discover that a lot the first semester. We had to dig and kind of prod to find out what was going on with, in the classroom, because she was still kind of, I don't know if it's okay to tell. Had you asked Hannah to stand up here in front of you her freshman year or any year before that, she would have said no. She would not have done it. But the last 2 years, she has learned to be her own advocate. She's learning that it is okay to need help. It's okay to need extra assistance on a test. It's okay to need the teacher to rephrase things. And it's okay to, have a meltdown and walk away and take a breath and, get it together. Hannah is, when we moved here, I was tearful, fearful of Hannah going to high school, because we were already putting in 4 and 5 hours a night doing homework because of her not wanting to use her IEP. And now she's doing it without assistance. I mean, she took an AP World History class this last semester and ended with a high C in the class. She is enrolled in 4 college classes this coming semester. She'll take 3 the following year, and she is on track to graduate Independence High School with 24 college credits to be able to enter the physical therapy assistance program of the Bell County. So I guess what I would say to you is, looking at Hannah, and I even feel bad sitting here because we did not go through, it hasn't been our entire life. It has become our entire life. But it doesn't matter, again, if they're with you all day, or if they're monitor, or if it's minor or major, they all need your support. And it breaks my heart to think that one teacher was able to deter Hannah for so long in her education career. And while I am not thankful for what happened to bring us to independence, I am very thankful that we are at Independence High School, because Hannah is surrounded by an amazing group of people. Thank you.